Your parents told you to save money. Your school told you to save money. Every financial article you have ever read told you to save money. And if that is all you have been doing, you have been slowly getting poorer every single year. Today I am going to show you the math that nobody taught you. And by the end of this video, you will never think about saving the same way again. Here is the brutal truth about saving: inflation. Every year, prices rise by roughly 3 to 4% on average. Your typical savings account pays you around 0.5% interest. That means every year your money sits in a savings account, you lose about 2 to 3% of its real purchasing power. Put $10,000 in a savings account today. In 20 years, it will still say $10,000 on the screen. But it will buy you what $5,500 buys today. You did not save money. You lost it, slowly, invisibly, year by year. And this is not a theory. This is happening right now to millions of people who think they are being responsible. Let me give you a real example. In 1970, a new car cost about $3,900. A house cost about $23,000. If you had $10,000 in cash and kept it under your mattress, by 2020 that same $10,000 would buy you less than half of what it could buy 50 years earlier. But if you had invested that $10,000 in the S&P 500 index fund, by 2020 it would be worth over $800,000. The difference is not luck. The difference is understanding how money actually works. And most people never learn this because schools do not teach it. Saving was not always a bad idea. Before modern financial markets were accessible to regular people, a savings account was the best option available. Your grandparents lived in a world where banks paid 5 to 10% interest on savings. In that world, saving made perfect sense. But today, anyone with a smartphone can open a brokerage account in 10 minutes and invest in the same funds that billionaires use. The rules changed. The advice did not. And that gap is costing ordinary people a fortune. Let us make it concrete. Person A saves $500 a month in a savings account at 0.5% interest. After 30 years, around $190,000. Person B invests $500 a month in a basic S&P 500 index fund averaging 10% annually. After 30 years, over $1 million. Same $500 a month. Same 30 years. One person has $190,000. The other has over $1 million. The only difference is where the money went. And here is the crazy part: Person B did not work harder. Person B did not earn more. Person B just understood one simple principle that Person A never learned. That principle is called compound interest. Albert Einstein reportedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. Here is how it works: when you invest money, it earns returns. Then those returns earn their own returns. And then those returns earn returns. It is interest on interest. In the first few years, it looks slow. But after 10, 15, 20 years, the growth becomes exponential. Your money starts making more money than you ever could by working. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is how wealth has been built for centuries. Here is what people say: but the stock market is risky. And yes, in the short term, it absolutely is. Markets crash. People panic. Headlines scream. But over 20 or 30 years? There has never been a 20-year period in S&P 500 history where investors lost money. Never. Even if you invested right before the 1929 crash, by 1949 you were profitable. Even if you invested right before 2008, by 2013 you were ahead. Meanwhile, saving in cash guarantees you lose purchasing power. So which is actually riskier? Putting your money in a place that has never lost over 20 years, or a savings account that guarantees a slow loss to inflation every single year? So why do people keep saving instead of investing? Psychology. Saving feels safe. You can see the number in your bank account go up. It gives you a sense of control. Investing feels abstract. You cannot see it. You hear stories about crashes and panic selling. So people choose the illusion of safety over the reality of growth. But here is the truth: the discomfort of investing is temporary. The discomfort of watching your money lose value for 40 years? That is permanent. Yes, but with a specific purpose. Savings are not for building wealth. They are for protecting against emergencies. The rule is simple: keep 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a high-yield savings account as an emergency fund. That money stays liquid, stays safe. If you lose your job, if your car breaks down, if you have a medical emergency, that money is there. Everything above that number? It should be working for you, not sitting idle in an account losing value. You do not need to pick stocks. You do not need to be a financial expert. The simplest path to wealth that has ever existed: invest consistently in low-cost index funds like VOO or VTI, which track the entire US stock market. Contribute to your 401k, especially if your employer matches, because that is free money. Max out your Roth IRA every year, your gains grow completely tax-free. Automate it all so it happens without you thinking about it. Set it up once and forget about it. That is it. That is the whole strategy. Billionaires use complicated strategies. Regular people can use this one and still build massive wealth. Stop thinking about money as something to protect. Start thinking about money as something to put to work. Every dollar you have is either working for you or losing value. There is no neutral. A dollar in a savings account is slowly dying. A dollar in an index fund is planting a seed that compounds for decades. Which dollar do you want more of? The question is not whether you can afford to invest. The question is, can you afford to let your money die? Saving money is not a financial strategy. It is a starting point. The real strategy is making your money grow faster than inflation. And in 2024, the tools to do that are available to literally everyone. You do not need to be rich. You do not need to be smart. You just need to start. The best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. If this changed how you think about money, like this video and subscribe for more. And comment below: are you a saver or an investor right now? Be honest, no judgment here. See you in the next one.